I'll tell you a secret. You are not your thoughts, and you are not your emotions. Sadly, many people don't realize that. Your thoughts and emotions are your reactions, and if you're older than 5 years old, you probably know that you can control your reactions. But here's the plot twist. When you start judging your reactions and trusting your judgment, you easily lose that control. Let me explain. There's no way to magically stop thinking, or to stop feeling, but there's a way to detach yourself from what immediately appears in your head. It's about staying skeptical towards your thoughts. When you trust your immediate reactions, they automatically influence you, and therefore, you give them the ability to control you. But when you stop for a moment and decide to examine your emotional provoking thoughts right when they appear, you don't let them take over you. Your initial thoughts and reactions can't be controlled, but as quickly as you notice them, you can take control over them. Here's the process. You get a thought, either a random one or in reaction to an event. And in reaction to that thought, you get an immediate emotion. And at this point, it is yours to decide if you keep entertaining that emotion, or just without immediate judgment, logically examine your thought, instead of associating emotions with it. You have to acknowledge your thought and accept it, and then it will peacefully go away, without influencing your feelings or your behavior that much. What I'm saying is based mostly on my recent experience. It is very hard to explain with words. I suggest you to stop the video and try that by yourself. Just focus on what's inside of you and try to catch the next thought that comes to your head. And instead of following that thought with your emotions, acknowledge it and question it. You immediately see that you have more control over it. This way you can control your reaction and have the ability to decide what you're gonna do next with that thought. Instead of either blindly following it and thinking that this thought is you, or resenting it and trying to pretend that this thought didn't even appear in your head. Your thoughts are not you, but they have to be acknowledged and accepted. And if the thought keeps growing in your head, ask yourself, is it good? Is it bad? That's the core of stoicism. Nothing that happens outside of our control is either good or bad. The thing that makes it look bad is our judgment, which is the emotion we associate with our thought of that experience. Even if you already get used to a certain thought and logically know that the thing that provoked it isn't good, still, you need to avoid emotionally judging it. Know what's bad, but don't let it influence your feelings too much. And as it is in stoicism, even if something seems bad to you now, no one said it can't bring you good things in the future. Well, but many of you probably already knew that. When you stop emotionally judging what happens in your head, you are able to better notice what's good in your bad experiences. You should mix your thought awareness with your emotional awareness, as I like to call it, which is about observing your emotions. I've talked about emotional awareness in one of my previous videos. I will give it to you on the end screen of this one. It sounds weird, but similarly to your thoughts, you can watch your emotions without emotionally judging them. You can judge logically, but when you start judging emotionally, you should detach from your feelings. And if my content seems appealing to your logic, then I think you should subscribe to my channel, or at least like the video. I appreciate it, thanks a lot. And of course, don't look at me as if I was an expert. I may seem smart, but really, we're on the same boat. I still judge my thoughts and emotions every day. And I'm not really the right person to try to teach other people. I see myself more of an older brother. I'm still a very immature person, and the things I'm telling you are often barely tested by me. So you need to question my words and try stuff by yourself. And as always, my videos are for everyone, but here's the part mostly for the fellow Christians watching this. If you aren't interested, you can skip to the next timestamp. The choice is yours. But for those who stay, we as human beings were made in the image of God, and so God gave us something that makes us much more than animals. It's free will. When you trust your immediate thoughts or emotions, you basically greatly limit your free will. You have control over how you feel about what happens, about other people and about yourself. You are free and you shouldn't be a slave of your thoughts. You have control over your actions, and thus you can decide if you stay righteous or if you sin. You can't trust what's in your head. You can't blindly follow your thoughts. You can trust only Jesus. Amen. And to everyone watching this, you need to realize that nothing on this world can fully control how you feel. Our free will is the most powerful thing in our head. It is not your fault if you feel an immediate emotion, but whether you keep entertaining this feeling is completely up to you. You're the one who's responsible of your feelings. People tend to complain about what happens, and they tend to blame others for how they feel. But as it is in Epictetus' Discourses, a philosopher, if he ever somehow happens to complain, he quickly realizes that it is his fault, and starts blaming himself for how he feels. Because our thoughts and emotions, unlike most of the things in the world, are under our control. And if you want to learn about emotional awareness, here's the video I mentioned earlier. It's about monitoring and naming your emotions, which is a core of a good emotional intelligence. Thanks for your time. Growth is our duty. Bye.